Kidsway Studio, what's up? Hey, I'm glad that you guys are here. I'm coming at you today. My name is Pastor Julian. If you're new with us, thank you so much for being here. I couldn't be more excited to know that you're there, to hear that you are a part of what we're doing here on our space, in this place here on YouTube. If this is your first time, make sure that you leave us a comment. Let us know down in the comments below, all right? But anyways, we're going to get to our series. And it's actually week number 2 in our series called Superfan. And in this series, we're learning all about kindness and how we can cheer on the people around us, whether they're our friends, whether they're our families, whoever they might be. We want to be kind to those people. In our memory verse that we'll get to in just a little bit, the Lord says that we should put on kindness as if it were our clothes. And as far as I know, it looks like all of us wear clothes every day. So we got to put kindness on every day. And that makes it kind of a little easier to know or a little easier to do whenever you know where kindness comes from, like we found out last week in our big answer. Last week, our big answer said we can be kind to others because God is kind to us. And that's what helps us be kind to other people, even when we don't feel like it. And as we're kind of thinking about it, it's sometimes kind of easier to be kinder, to be nicer to strangers, like to be nicer to the people that you've just met. Sometimes it's easier to be nicer to them. But in our Bible story, we're going to be talking about what it means to be nice to our friends and family. Our big answer today actually says that. It says, be kind to your friends and family. Can you guys say that with me? Say it again. Say, be kind to your family and friends. I think I said that backwards in the first one. So let's try it one more time, just for good measure. Ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Be kind to your family and friends. That's right. We're going to hear a Bible story in just a little bit about a perfect situation that ended up being so important about a family who was kind to each other. And they didn't even know they were family at first. But either way, we're going to get into that in just a minute. But for right now, we're getting ready to sing and dance and worship Jesus together. So stand up on your feet and let's get ready to have a good time. Are you ready? Awesome. Here we go.
Whatever the distance or darkness, you're with me. You're with me. Whenever I'm failing or falling, you've got me. You've got me. You won't let me down. Never, never. In your love I'm found. Forever. Your love, it goes on and on. Forever is not too long. I'll never be too far gone. Forever I'm in your arms. I believe it. I believe it. I know that your love's never leaving. You're with me. You're with me. I stand on your promise and purpose. You've got me. You've got me. Your love, it goes on and on. Forever is not too long. I'll never be too far gone. Forever I'm in your arms. I believe it. I believe it. You won't let me down. Never, never. In your love I'm found. Forever. You won't let me down. Never, never. In your love I'm found. Forever. Your love, it goes on and on. Forever is not too
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story. Inspired by the Book of Ruth.
All right, Kids Way, we're ready. Are you ready? I'm ready. Worshiping like that, singing and dancing always gets me ready, puts my focus on Jesus, and gets me ready to hear our message for today. So I hope you're ready. Go ahead and take your seat and let's dive in. And you know, we're in our series called Superfan, and so this series is all about cheering each other on through kindness, right? And so I thought it'd be really kind of cool to do something maybe a little sports related, like kind of to help tell our message for today. Like, have you ever seen a sports team, or have you ever heard the cheerleaders when they're there and they're talking to the crowd and they're just kind of chanting and asking you to spell something like the team's name, like give me a B, give me a U, give me a C. And, you know, you continue on for the Buccaneers because they just won the Super Bowl. Yes! But anyways, that's what we're going to try to do today. So we're going to tell our Bible story today, and we're going to have to tell you people's names. But when we tell you their names, we're going to do it in that style. So what do you say we jump right in to our Bible story today? And remember, our big answer for the day is be kind to your family and friends. And the story that we're going to tell is an absolute perfect story that goes along with that big answer. And the book that we're going to be looking in the Bible is actually recorded. The person that we're going to be looking, the story that we're going to be looking into is actually recorded in the book called, well, actually, what do you say we give this a shot? And like, I'm going to like go all in for it. Like, I got a pom-pom here and everything. So I'm going to say a letter and I want you to repeat it after me. Can you do that? Awesome. Let's go. Let's give it a shot. So, ready? The book of the Bible that we're going to be looking into today is this. Give me an R. Give me a U. Give me a T. Give me an H. What does that spell? Ruth. That's right. The book of the Bible that we're going to be looking at today to tell our story is the book called Ruth. And Ruth is actually going to be one of our main characters for today. And so we pick up the story of Ruth. She's living in a town called Moab when all of a sudden one day a woman and her family travel to her town. This woman and her family had to travel to Moab because where they were at was going through a really big famine. That means that all of the crops that they have weren't producing any food. So this woman and her family had to travel to Moab where Ruth was at. And the name of that woman, are you ready? Give me an N, give me an A, give me an O, give me an M, give me an I. What does that spell? Yeah, this name might be a little bit tougher, but it spells Naomi. That's right, say Naomi, say go Naomi. Okay, so I had to put the pom-pom down because I was getting a little carried away. Like, have you ever held a pom-pom like in your hand? Like, if you have, like, hold a pom-pom in your hand and try not to move it. Like, it's almost impossible. So either way, I had to put it down because I was getting a little carried away. But either way, we're back on track and we're back on our story about Ruth and Naomi. And so remember, Naomi and her family were traveling to Moab where Ruth was at because where Naomi was from was a place called Judah. And in Judah at the time, there was a big famine. That means that crops weren't producing, food was scarce, and it was really hard to live. So this caused Naomi and her family to move to where Ruth was at, a place called Moab. When Naomi got there, Naomi had 2 sons, and her 2 sons married 2 women from Moab. First was Ruth, which we've been talking about, and the other one, I'm probably going to say her name wrong, but the other son married a woman named Orpah. And everything was going great for these guys for a while. But then, as time went on, Naomi's husband had passed away and died. And then a little while after that, Ruth's husband and Orpah's husband had passed away and died too. So after some time, it was just Naomi, Orpah, and Ruth. It was just these 3 women together. They had become their own little family. And so after some more time goes on, Moab actually starts to go through their own famine. Crops weren't producing food. Food was getting really hard to come by. But it was around the same time that the women had heard that Judah, the place where Naomi was from, was starting to come back to life. There was going to be food there. So they thought about it, and they made the decision amongst themselves to go back to Judah. And so they started down this path. They started down the road to Judah, all three of them together. But then as they were getting closer and as they were on their journey, Naomi turned back to the two girls, to Ruth and Orpah, and told them to go back to Moab. Now this sounds crazy, right? But check it out. It actually says that right in the Bible. We're going to open up to the book of Ruth, and we're going to look at chapter 1, verse 8. This is what Naomi had said to Ruth and Orpah. She said, "But on the way, Naomi said to her two daughters-in-law, 'Go back to your mother's homes, and may the Lord reward you for your kindness to your husbands and to me.'" So Naomi was saying, go back home, go back to where your own families are, and may the Lord reward you for how kind you have been to me and my sons while they were with us. So after a little bit of back and forth, Naomi had convinced Orpah to go back to Moab. And so Orpah takes off and she goes back to Moab. No harm, no foul, right? But Ruth was a little bit more stubborn. Ruth had a different idea in her mind. And this, if we fast forward from verse 8 to verse 16, it actually says this, and I got to turn my page here. In Ruth chapter 1, verse 16, we hear Ruth reply. And she said this, "But Ruth replied, 'Don't ask me to leave you and turn back. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God.'" You see, Ruth had put her foot down and said, hey, no matter what's going on, no matter where you're at, I am going to be with you. And this was such an important thing. And Naomi could hear the passion and the love that Ruth had for her while she was saying this. So Naomi didn't say anything back to her. Naomi just said, okay, and accepted that Ruth was going to be with her wherever she went. And eventually, the two women, Naomi and Ruth, made it back to Naomi's hometown of Judah. So here we go. Ruth and Naomi made it back to Naomi's hometown, and they got settled in. And as they were settling in, Ruth kind of noticed that they were going to need some food. So Ruth asked Naomi if she could go to the crops, go to the fields, and harvest some grain so that they could have something to eat. And it's here where we meet the next main character in our story. Are you ready to meet him? All right, I got my pom-pom. Are you ready? Here we go. Give me a B. Give me an O. Give me an A. Give me a Z. What does that spell? Yeah, this name looks kind of different than any other name we've ever seen. But this spells Boaz. That's right. Our next character is Boaz. Can you say Boaz? That's right, Boaz. And so, Boaz is actually a character in our story where we first meet him. The Bible tells us that I'm going to actually get rid of that because I'm going to keep moving it if I don't. So, Boaz was the actual owner of the field, owner of the crop where Ruth had gone to pick grain. And at first, Boaz wasn't there. So Ruth had asked the people that were there at the field if she could go and pick after the workers have gone through and picked grain. Because you see, God had put in a really cool law to help people who were a little less fortunate. God had said that whenever the people who worked the fields were harvesting their crops, God had told him to leave a little bit behind, leave a little bit of wheat and grain on the stalks, so that way the people who were less fortunate or the people who were poor could come in after them and at least pick and gather a little bit for themselves. And this is what Ruth was doing. So when Boaz showed up, he saw that Ruth had gone after the people who were working to harvest some grain. And Boaz asked the workers, who was she? And the workers had replied, she is the woman who had came back with Naomi. Her name is Ruth. And Boaz was really inspired by this. Boaz saw Naomi doing something really kind, and in return, Boaz wanted to do something really kind for Ruth. And we actually get to see what he did in the Bible. So if we grab our Bibles in Ruth, chapter 2, verses 8 and 9, it says this. It says, Boaz went over and said to Ruth, "Listen, my daughter, stay right here with us when you gather your grain. Don't go to any other fields. Stay right behind the young women working my fields. See which part of the field they are harvesting, and then follow them. I have warned the young men not to treat you badly, and when you are thirsty, help yourselves to the water that they have drawn from the well." You see, Boaz was inspired by Ruth's kindness. He saw Ruth doing something kind for her family, and Boaz wanted to do something kind for her. So Boaz told her, "Hey, stay here in my field and pick whatever you need to. Once these women have gone through and picked, go right there with them and pick what they didn't." Boaz was doing something very kind for Ruth, and he even took it a step further. He even told Ruth to stay back, and he gave Ruth some food, some grain, some roasted fresh grain, and then he filled her bag with more grain to take home to where Naomi was. This was an amazing act of kindness. So Ruth continued to work in Boaz's field for the entire grain harvest. For that entire season, Boaz let her work and collect and harvest grain, which was an absolutely amazingly kind thing to do. This was so fantastic. And you see, Naomi still knew what was going around. She was still very much involved, and she was smart enough to know that God was at work. God was positioning Boaz on purpose to be kind for them so that he could be their protector. Because remember, Naomi and Ruth didn't have anyone to protect them. So Naomi tells Ruth, "Hey, go to Boaz and tell him that, hey, he's our closest relative," which was actually true. Boaz was their closest relative. But go to Boaz and tell him that he is the one that is going to protect us. So Ruth goes over to Boaz's house like in the middle of the night, wakes him up and everything, and says, "Hey, you're our closest relative and you are going to be the one to protect us." And Boaz is like, "Yeah, that's awesome, but actually there's somebody who's a closer relative than I am to you." And so Boaz goes down to the city officials, one of the elders, and actually says, "Hey, this is what's going on. Can I buy Naomi's land?" And this was a big thing. This meant you had rights. This means that you were going to be the one to protect this family if this happened, right? And so the man agrees and says, "Yes, you can buy Naomi's land." And this was an awesome thing, because what happens next is that Boaz marries Ruth, and Naomi came to live with them, and it was an absolutely amazing part of the story. And if the story ended there, it would be fantastic. It would be such a good ending. But the story doesn't end there. You see, because this was only the start of a story that would go on to change the entire world. And I'm not kidding, like go on to change the entire world. Because you see, from there, Boaz and Ruth went on to have a son, and the son's name was, well, actually, why don't we kind of do this thing one more time? I know, trust me, one more time, and I need my pom-pom back, but I threw it. Yeah, hey, Nick, can you throw me that pom? Yep, got it. Okay, I got my pom-pom back. So let's do this one more time. I know, but just one more time, all right? But we have to know the name of Ruth and Boaz's son. So give me an O. Give me a B. Give me an E. Give me a D. What does that spell? Obed. That's right. We got some really different names out here today. But that spells Obed. And, sorry. I gotta get rid of it again. But Obed was a really big deal. You see, Obed went on and he had a son too. Obed's son's name was Jesse. And Jesse went on and he had a son as well. And Jesse's son was one of the most popular people in the Bible. We know him as King David. And if we fast forward hundreds of years on down the line, there's another son that's born. And this son would go on to change the world. That son's name was Jesus. You see, at the very beginning of that story, we're met with Boaz and Ruth, where they're showing kindness. Ruth is showing kindness to Naomi, and Boaz in turn showed kindness to Ruth. And this kindness started something absolutely amazing, because it's through this family line that Jesus was born. That's right. Jesus was a part of the family line that started with Ruth and Boaz. And it all started because Ruth decided to show kindness. She decided to show kindness to Naomi, and then Boaz showed kindness to Ruth. And it started this huge family line where Jesus would be born through. It all started with kindness. And kids, wait, check it out, because I know it's not always easy to be kind to the people that are closest to you. Because honestly, the people who are closest to us can hurt us the most, can annoy us the best, can frustrate us more than anyone else. And this happens because we care about them so much. And it sounds crazy, but sometimes the people that we're closest to are the hardest people to be kind or to show kindness towards. But if we look back at our memory verse in Colossians chapter 3, verse 12, it says this: "You are God's chosen people. You are holy and dearly loved. So put on tender mercy and kindness as if they were your clothes. Don't be proud. Be gentle and patient." Colossians chapter 3, verse 12. There is so much in that verse that we could talk about. But to be tender-hearted and to show mercy, you could argue that you could use those words and say forgiveness. Kids, wait. If there's somebody that you need to forgive, especially if they're a part of your family, the Bible tells us that we should be quick to do these things, that we should put these things on like if they were our clothes and offer them out very fast. Because the longer that unforgiveness stays in our hearts, the harder it's going to be to actually forgive those people, and the harder it's going to be to show those people kindness. So kids, wait. If you're mad at your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad or an uncle, aunt, cousin, whoever that is, anybody close to you, forgive them so that you can start being kind. And trust me, it sounds crazy because I know you might not want to be kind, but God is telling us that we should put on kindness every single day. And I promise you that if you work hard to put on kindness and you work hard to do your best and try to forgive, that you will be happier. You will be in better moods. You won't be as mad as often. You won't get annoyed or frustrated as easily. But it starts with showing kindness, and it starts with forgiveness as well. Those two run very similar to each other, right next to each other. So kids, wait. Remember our big answer. Be kind to your family and friends. All right, we're going to do one more thing before we let you guys go, because we want to put the focus back on Jesus and just give thanks to him. And we're going to do that through a time of worship. So go ahead and stand up to your feet and let's worship him together.
You're hidden
So be kind to your friends and family. That's right. That's our big answer for week number 2. But kids, wait, just a final thought to kind of leave you with. Does your brother or sister know how valuable they are to you? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe they don't think they matter that much to you because of the way that we've treated them lately or because of the things we might have said to them recently. But think about it. Does your brother or sister know how valuable they are to you? Interesting thought, huh? And if they do or they don't, that's up to you to decide. But if they don't, tell them today, like, hey, I love you. Hey, I care about you. I know you make me mad, more mad than anybody else, but you're still my brother. You're still my sister. You can say these things to them to show them that they are valuable to you. But you can also show them by your actions and the way that you treat them. You can all do so many things to show your brother, your sister, your family that they are valuable to you. You can be kind to them and show them that they are valued and that they are loved. So kids, we hope that you enjoyed today. We hope that you are going to have a fantastic week. And no matter what, please know that we are praying for you guys. We love you guys. We can't wait to see you whenever that may be. And until that time comes, we'll see you right back here next week. You guys be good, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.